Well, good morning, everybody. Here we are in the garden yesterday afternoon, and I'm recording this yesterday afternoon, as you can see from the blue sky behind me and the garden wall here. And I'm doing it because on Sunday, when we talked about unity and commitment of David's men to David, I think it's coming home time from school. Um, So, yes, we talked about the commitment that these men made to David. And when we moved here to this house, we made a commitment to this church. Um, we made the commitment before we moved here. And so we've been in this house for quite a few years now because God has not led us away at all, but made us root down here and put our spiritual roots down here as well as our physical building here. When we moved, the garden was a sort of mess of rubble from the builders, and we've been dealing with it since I built patio and lawn and so forth. And behind me here, you'll see behind me a wall. Those of you who know this garden will know that this wall was covered in passion fruit and in other plants, clematis and so on, that had really grown all over the wall and grown down, put roots down, and through the years spread, especially the passion fruit, spread wildly across that patch there. If I just lift this up there, you can see my barbecue area and the flower bed behind it. Now, what we're doing at the moment is digging up the old plants that we didn't want anymore and the ones that were a nuisance. And so we've been replanting. But digging up was a hard job. The roots were really deep, and it was a tough day digging out that patch. And now we're having the joy of putting new plants in, which we hope will root down just as strongly as the old ones did. And it reminded me of this commitment that David made to his people and his people to him. This mutual commitment, this unity of purpose and desire. And we have that in the church today. I made that commitment, you made that commitment. We together are committed to the life of this church. And it's like we need to put these roots down until God himself digs us up and puts us somewhere else. Some of these plants behind me have been moved to a different part of the garden. Some will come back when we've finished replanting and will be added to the new ones. It's a sort of reorganizing, restructuring that's going on. But we expect every plant to put its roots down. And it's the same in the church. People may be called by God to move on, like Joanna and like Ruth, and maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll be replanted in a different place. But whatever God does, he's asking you to put roots down and to be committed. And I'm sure that you agree that that is a fundamental part of our community and our life together as a church, that we know we're not just, the odd weed or two that can be ripped out quickly. We know that we have established deep roots together and that we have been bound together in this beautiful church. And the flowering of each one of us, different people, different personalities, etc. That flowering is a flowering designed by God, that he's brought you here. It's not an accident that you're here. It won't be an accident when Jackie finishes putting those flowers in. She's chosen them carefully for their colour and their shape, and she will put them in and expect to see the fruit of her labour. And that is what God does, puts us together in a church and expects to see the beauty that He's designed flower and flourish. And it'll only do that if everyone puts their roots down and we build together. While God has us in this place, I don't expect to move anytime soon, but God might say something different. Until that time, my roots are as deep as some of those roots that I had to dig out in this patch. And so are yours. And so we're together in this wonderful community, King's Community Church. Be blessed.